Hi everyone, my name is Vikas Nandwana and I'm co-founder and CTO of MFNS Tech. MFNS stands for Multifunctional Nanostructures. Our goal is to produce nanotech-based solutions for environmental remediation problem. Before I start, I would like to thank DeepTechU for giving us the opportunity to present, and we are really enjoying all the presentations. It's an honor to start the session. Let's get going. So the first problem we are trying to solve, oil pollution in water. A well-recognized problem. When we think about oil pollution, thing comes to our mind is oil spill. It is a visible problem. However, there is another form of oil pollution which is much bigger but is invisible. This is produced water, which is nothing but wastewater generated by oil and gas industries. How big of a problem that is? For every barrel of oil, 4 to 20 barrels of produced water is generated. That is almost 800 plus billion gallons of water per year in US alone, and multiply by 5 and you get the global numbers. In other words, that comes out to be 2,500 gallons per person in US. This is a massive number. Now this water is contaminated with oil and other impurities and hence needs to be treated before it can be reused. However, due to high treatment cost and complex treatment methods, only 30% of this water is treated and reused, while 70% of this water is disposed back underground. Lately, this has come under attention, both from regulatory agency and as well as environmental groups. So there are two big concerns. First, all this wastewater which is being disposed can contaminate drinking water supplies. And second is the source of this water. Produced water is generated during drilling and fracking operations. For fracking operations, currently a lot of wells still use fresh water. So not only they are generating and disposing this contaminated water, they are also depleting the fresh water sources. If all the produced water can be treated and reused for fracking and other industries applications, we can solve both this problem. And that's the reason produced water treatment is considered now an opportunity instead of a challenge. Investors are also betting big in the companies dealing with the produced water treatment. So let's try to learn why only 30% of the water is treated. So this is the picture of a typical treatment plant of produced water. Current method, based on this picture, you can see there are multi-step methods. Most of them use chemical additives because oil is present in different forms from floating to dispersed. And then a lot of media is also used, and which is basically a single-use media, and that generate a lot of hazardous waste. And all these problems, all of these points actually increase the cost dramatically, and that's the particular reason basically the treatment cost becomes very high than the disposal cost. Ideally, a treatment should be simple, fast, eco-friendly, and cost-effective, and that's where our technology comes in. We have developed a sponge that loves oil and resists water. So when we drop this into any oil contaminated water, or we pass oil contaminated water through it, it just absorbs all the oil and leaves the water clean. It is extremely effective because it can clean the water in one pass. It has selectivity for oil, and one of the most important thing is it's reusable. So once the sponge is saturated with oil, we can just squeeze it, recover the oil, and reuse it for hundreds of such cycles. That brings me to my next point. It does not generate any waste, and it is also made using environmentally benign materials and methods. So it is eco-friendly too. And last thing, we also use cost-effective and naturally abundant raw materials, and all these advantages adds up and bring the treatment cost significantly down. So it's a very economic solution. So how does it work? We just take a commercially available sponge such as cellulose that we use in kitchen, and we just dip coat in a nanocomposite slurry and form a thin coating, and this coating increases its affinity towards oil. So when we use this sponge as a filtration media in a column, we can see the result that our media based on Ohm sponge can remove more than 99.5% of oil, while the other commercially available filtration media cannot go above 80%. Based on our customer discovery, we found out there is a broad oil-water separation market of almost $11.3 billion that is not only limited to oil and gas industries, but other industries such as food, chemical, power, etc. And our focus is to target the tertiary treatment out of this, and which is around $2.3 billion. Our beachhead market is the walnut shell filtration media in particular, because that's the most common tertiary media and very old technology. If we replace walnut shell media with our own media, there are cost savings of almost 80%. And that's what we are doing in our pre-pilot studies. We are working with 4 companies that deals with oil-water separation. And each of them has replaced their current media with own media, and they have seen a significant performance. We are also in conversation with big players in both oil and water industry, such as US Coast Guard, Veolia, Chevron, MSRC. Here is how our roadmap looks like. We launched around 2019, secured our IPs, and we got our pre-seed funding by 2021, which allowed us to do to move from prototypes to complete some pre-pilot studies. We have recently received NSF STTR funding, and we are going to raise seed funding in the summers, and that would allow us to do pilot studies and set up some scale up and manufacturing. We have already received some letter of interest, and by the end of 2024 we plan to launch our product and would be raising round A. And then one more thing I would like to say is MFNS tech would not limit to the applications for oil sequestration. We would go beyond oil also and target other pollutants such as PFAS, toxic metals, microplastics. Here is our founding team. I have 15 plus years of experience, and I have worked at different institutes at different capacities. And my other co-founder is Professor Vinayak Dravid. He is a faculty at Northwestern University for almost 30 plus years. He's also director of Nuance Characterization Center and SHINE, which is funded by NSF. And also we both bring a combination of expertise from engineering, nanotech to the commercialization, IPs, and also manufacturing. In a short span, we have got national and global recognition by almost all major media houses, from Forbes, BBC, and to the recently we got an NBC also. And we also received a lot of award as a startup. Some of them are like Rising Star of the Year award for the 4th Revolution, top 5 startups to watch by Startups Insights. We got recognized by National Science Foundation, Material Research Society, and recently we got an award for sustainability for innovation by Glenview. So with this, I would like to thank everyone and thank the opportunity to present. If you want any information, you can visit our website www.mfnstech.com or email us. And with that, I would conclude. Thanks.